The following stories have been submitted to me directly. Story 1. If you're reading this, it's safe to assume I am already dead. A lot has happened in the past few days, and if I don't get this out now, write this down, I might never get to. And there's no one else I can send this to. Don't come looking for me. Please. Give this to the police if you need to, but I doubt they're going to do anything. They haven't so far. Remember Carrie, my sister? Yeah, the one that disappeared a few months ago. And yes, I know she disappeared. I know she hasn't run off somewhere, no matter how much she's posting on Instagram. I found her research. She was working on something. Wanted to set off her career with something big. Something others wouldn't dare to write about. It seems she noticed a kind of connection between a set of disappearances. Girls that were all fresh out of college, brunette, tall, fit. Sound like someone you know? She shouldn't have dug into that stuff. Someone around them reported them missing. Police never properly looked into it because why would they? Their Facebooks, Instagrams, Twitters were active, posting about exotic getaways, vacations, freedom. Just like Carrie was. Still is. According to her Instagram, she's on La Palma right now. Don't believe a thing. And she knew that something was wrong. She saw, and not even the goddamn police could. She would have made such a good journalist. She will, I hope. I hope more than anything she's actually out there, living her best life, getting away from all this crap. Even if I won't get to see her again. She was smart about it. She followed their accounts, made notes on their posts, noticed a pattern. And then the posts slowly died down. One after the other stopped completely. And she couldn't let go. She asked some college friends, IT guys, to help track the accounts. But they couldn't find anything. So she dug deeper. She stumbled right into the dark web because she knew there were people there that could help her. People that knew about tracking accounts, tracking and finding people. Her notes mention getting some Bitcoin. They mention finding someone who would help. And then they stop. I don't know what happened to her, but her notes were open on her desk. Her house was empty. There were still dirty dishes in the sinks, judging by the smell that had been there for the last 2 months. I traced her steps, found the girl's accounts. I downloaded this browser she mentioned, Tor. Some big separate network that lets you browse the web anonymously and lets you access the stuff the usual browsers can't. All these unindexed sites. I had no clue how to do any of this stuff. I was sitting there with an empty browser and nothing but some long codes in her notes. Addresses. Website addresses that were nothing but wild scrambles. Like those auto-generated password sites send you when you forget yours and want to change it. Took me way too long to figure that one out. But the first one led me to a forum post, some compilation of websites on the dark web. A bunch of links, some with passwords, some grayed out already because they'd been taken down. The short descriptions provided with them were enough for me to never want to see behind those links. But Carrie's notes were lacking, not saying what she used and where she went. So, I tried a few that seemed to be offering what she was looking for. Hacking services, social networks, trackers. I read some stuff that I'd rather want to forget about on those. But now I know in excruciating detail how to install a GPS tracker in someone without them noticing. Yes, in someone. It took a couple of days, but I finally found something that sounded like what pulled her in. A guy was offering hacking into social media accounts, finding out the location of each post and where a logged-in device could be found. There was some more stuff about activating cameras, microphones, tampering with files. It's sort of creepy to think about it. This wasn't exactly hard to find, and there are some messed up people out there. Just imagine what they could use this for. I sure wouldn't want to be on the other end of this service. Contact was behind a paywall, but they don't do dollars in the dark web. Cryptocurrency is what it's all about. Bitcoin mostly. I never did get to contact this guy, but it's probably for the better, considering what I found out. I kept digging, going and going way too deep in. I skimmed over websites that had me feeling like the FBI was going to bust my door any second now. Or whoever deals with this kind of stuff. Human trafficking, like girls being offered up as slaves. Drug shops. Illegal weapons offered up openly. Well, more or less. None of this crap is really open. Far too much. Far too brutal porn. Snuff. I've seen things I can never forget. Quite a few of those sites are password protected, but those are not hard to find once you've started digging. Some needed an extra program. I think that was when it happened, when I installed one of those tunnels. My screen went black when I opened it. First I thought that was part of the deal. Tunnel, dark web, all that. People still have humor after all. But then they started typing. My name, my address, where I grew up, where I went to school, studied, where I worked, the name of my ex, of my boss, my mum, my sister. All on my screen in green letters. Her name with a winky smiley. I was all about ready to bolt. Any and every sound in the goddamn apartment seemed like the volume had been turned to 98. My heart was pounding so loud and hard, I thought I was going to faint. So, while I was sitting there cursing my heart to be quiet because I felt like there was someone who could hear me, suddenly, I appeared on screen. Me. Not just a picture, but me, right then and there, staring at my computer screen. I froze, probably for way too long. There was a chat window way down. People typing, saying things about me, things they'd like to do to me, things they'd want to see me do. And numbers, loads of numbers, offers and biddings. People trying to buy me, I think, or asking them to do something to me. The light of my webcam wasn't even on. Who knows how long they've been watching for? I unplugged my PC, never turned it back on. Actually, I never got the chance to. I went to the police, took Carrie's notes, showed them everything, begged them to look for her. And for a second, they seemed to take me for real. Then the officer came back, and what did I get? From what we can tell, she's fine. She's posting regularly. Maybe she just doesn't want to contact you. Maybe she just doesn't want to contact me. My sister, who hasn't missed a single good morning text or picture of her Sunday brunch for as long as I've been out of the house. For 7 years. They didn't care. They don't. Never will. I didn't even tell them about what happened to me, what happened to my computer. They would have dismissed it just as much. Maybe I would have even gotten in trouble for all the stuff I went through. I've never felt this alone, never this watched at the same time. I thought about coming over to see you, but if they were actually watching me, I couldn't risk it. Couldn't risk getting them on your track too. It was dark out already when I got back home. The The time when the light in the apartment building stairwell takes ages to turn on. Those first few steps in the dark until the motion sensor recognizes me always gives me the creeps. But this time, I felt like I could drop dead. My chest felt ice cold while my throat was burning up. I couldn't swallow. It hurt like hell. My stomach is still twisted to hell. I'm so nauseous, but anytime I start gagging, the dread over the sound comes up. I start panicking, push it all down, even if all I want is to empty out, get some notion of a restart. My heart was pounding against my ribs and the sound of my breath was bouncing off the walls, much more than my steps, it seemed. I was paranoid. Of course I was. I knew I was. Still, the paranoia might have saved my life, or prolonged it at least. Maybe I just pushed back the inevitable. After all, I am here writing this. But then, I took off my shoes, held my breath and made my way up the stairs as quietly as possible. Gripped onto the railing for dear life because my legs were shaking so much. The light sprung on just as soon as I had climbed the first flight. Nearly gave me a heart attack. But I kept myself together, went up to my apartment. My shoes stood out by the front door where they always were. The doormat was lying straight and flat at the entrance. My umbrella stand held its usual finds. The tension almost fell from me. Almost. When I stepped up to my door, keys in hand, I heard them. Inside. Not more than a step. Not more than a quiet scraping of metal against wood. I don't think my hands ever went cold that quick. And neither had I ever been down those stairs that fast. I nearly dropped my keys, caught them by a little ring that held them together before they could clatter to the floor. Any noise seemed like acid to my heart, and still getting out at all was more important than doing so quietly. Just when my hand touched the front door, I heard the slow creaking of my apartment door upstairs. It was mine. I know it was. My landlord had been refusing to fix it for months. I heard that sound every single day. My car was facing the building. I could see my kitchen window while I was trying to get it started, and I could clearly see the silhouette standing by it, only moving when my headlights flashed up. Seconds later, the light in the stairwell turned back on. I twisted my ankle on the way down. I only noticed it when I was already in the car, speeding off like my life depended on it. It probably did. But now I can feel it more clearly. If they come for me now, I don't think I can run away again. This half-melted bag of ice isn't helping much. I did call the police, but I doubt they were still there when they arrived. And I wasn't. So that sure won't reflect well on me. Who cares? I'm in a motel hours away from my apartment complex. The guy at the night registry was looking at me like I was crazy when I came in barefoot and looking like I'd seen a ghost. But I guess he probably has seen worse. Or thought I was on drugs and needed a place to crash. I can't sleep. Writing this is all I can do until morning comes and takes some of the terror out of my life. I guess it was lucky I took Carrie's laptop along. If for nothing else, this. Nights are horrible. They're dark. You never know what to expect. Never know who else is there because you can't see. But maybe they can see you. I heard a car door. Just now. They tried to close it quickly, but I heard it. It's 3 a.m. I don't know who would be pulling up to a county motel now. They're not talking. It's so quiet. There were still keys hanging up around mine. The rooms around me are empty. At least I think so. I wish they weren't. If only there was a TV running in the next room or some couple fighting, banging, I don't care. Some noise. Anything other than the tapping of these stupid keys. Maybe I should stop writing. But if this is going to be my end, people should know about it. Don't mess with these things. Don't get yourself into something you can't get back out of. Don't meddle with other people's businesses. You'll only regret it. The footsteps stopped. They kept getting quieter and now they're gone. Or maybe they're still there, and I just can't hear them because my stupid pulse is pumping at 120 decibels. I have my lights off. Never turn them on in here. Don't want to be visible. Also, I don't want my reflection to block. That was a voice. I heard it. Clearly. There's someone behind the motel. I think my heart stopped. At least I can hear it now. Silence is a wicked thing. So loud, buzzing, makes you feel like you're missing 1,000 sounds masking into this audio static. There it was. Rustling. They're out there, cutting through the bush, and it sounds like they're getting closer. I don't think I can keep writing. I'm over. I'm dead. There was someone in my front window. They walked past, one, then another one, and then they stopped. I heard them stop. I heard them stop and then turn around. A shadow appeared in that white frame. I couldn't see his face. Couldn't see him. He could see me. I felt it. And one of them turned to me, stared directly at me, just standing in front of my window. Why did I never close the blinds? I felt so cold, frozen. That could have been my chance to get away while they were on the other side of the building. Damn that stupid ankle. And then he waved to me. Waved as if there was nothing more normal than a guy appearing in your front motel window. He turned and walked off, and I know he's coming. I know there's going to be more here any moment, and then I will be no more. Screw the noise. It's already too late. I need you to know how I ended. I don't want to be another mystery unsolved on paper. Another missing person luring another journalist into this crap. Like her. I wonder if these are the same guys. I wanted to ask you to look into this originally. Yes, I wanted you to finish what I started. But now I see why Carrie never did. I understand, and I could never ask you to do this. Don't come looking for me. Don't try to find out what happened. You will, and you won't like it. This has to be enough. This document. Keep it safe. Give it to the police. Maybe that will get them off their asses. Let people know. They have to. Please don't let this have been for nothing. Before I continue to the next story, I just want to say thank you for choosing to watch this video, and I hope you're enjoying my narration. If you are, please leave a comment and like this video, and also subscribe to my channel if you don't already. It really helps me out. Story 2. It started with a dare. It always does these things. A stupid dare. I was at a party. My friend Lacey dragged me along. Said it would be fun. There would be boys and college peers and booze. I mean, she wasn't lying. It was fun. People were high on life, some on other stuff. Playing their games, beer pong, karaoke. There was a Just Dance battle going on in the other room, even though that devolved to mindless flailing as the alcohol levels rose. There was booze, lots of it. So we ended up with lots of drunken students scattered across a frat house and a garden. I was no saint myself. I drank, got tipsy. Never enough to black out, though. Not at a college party. Lacey, on the other hand, had fewer limits. so it wasn't quite that rare for me to end up staying past a party's Best Buy date to look over her as she was passed out on the couch or in some bedroom. Sitting half sobered up from a light tip at a kitchen counter with the leftovers from a frat party at 5 a.m. is an experience. The sun just starts going up and bringing some light onto the mess of empty beer cans, red plastic cups, and blacked-out bodies. Stains you never wanted to surface become all too clear. Whenever it gets to that point, I'm just happy this isn't my house to clean. Though this time it didn't get that far. Although, I was stuck at that party for way too long. At 3-something, maybe, I dragged Lacey up into one of the bedrooms, hoping to get her to sleep off her drunkenness so we could get home in the morning. But the one I picked wasn't quite empty. There was a group of people sitting in a circle, a bottle in their middle. I wanted to leave, but they begged me to join. Said I could put my friend on the bed and stay. We would all have an eye on her that way. And what was there to lose? I would get company and entertainment while keeping Lacey somewhat safe. Sounded like a win-win at the time. I wish I had just gone home. Left or never went in the first place. But I sat down, in between a bright bubbly girl in bright pink old clothing and some dude bro who looked like he had had a few too many beers already. They spun the bottle before even telling me the game. Truth or dare, the girl next to me was asked. She picked truth, was asked something stupid, supposedly embarrassing, that she answered without missing a beat. She spun next. It went on for a while. I answered my share of eye-opening questions until some guy in a hoodie wouldn't let me pick truth. He spun, but was staring me down already. I flinched when his hand slammed down on the bottle to stop it pointing at me. My protests about rules didn't matter. All of them wanted to put me through a stupid dare, and they didn't take no for an answer. I should have just gotten up. Almost did. But that nagging voice in my brain took over. The one telling me I was a spoilsport, a sore loser, even if I hadn't lost anything yet. The voice that deemed me boring, uptight, a prude, too tense. He wanted me to buy something, or order, or whatever. It didn't seem that bad when he first said it. Then he decided to specify. A girl, from the dark web. That grin still haunts me. I just want to punch his yellow teeth out. I asked him what he meant, so he demanded my phone. I complied, stupidly. Call girl services, videos, cams, chats, strippers, he listed, all to be found right here. When he handed it back, he put a new browser on my phone. Some purple thing. I can't remember the name of. And there was a website open. A forum with the weirdest URL I had ever seen, filled with links of the same caliber, each one titled with something or other he had mentioned. I said I wasn't going to spend money on a stupid dare. But he said not to worry. He would take the cost. A gift, he said. I just had to choose the site and put my name under it. The others were thrilled at the idea. Alcohol really turns your brain to mush. But they were hyping me up, cheering at the mere thought, and the hint of beer still stuck in my own brain pulled me onto the same train. They hooked my phone up to a projector one of the guys carried in from who knows where, cast my screen onto the wall for everyone to watch as I started opening websites, displaying pictures of half and not so half-naked girls, 5-second previews of their services, in-depth descriptions on what they would and could do. My fingers were tingling, as if there was something stuck to them, but wiping them on my pants did nothing. I finally settled on some camgirl website that promised freaky stuff. I didn't care about it too much, but that was one of the more expensive options that didn't require me to order something to an address. Yes, expensive. If he was making me do this, he should suffer along. Maybe Daddy would cut off the gold fountain if the dude was throwing out his money like this. Don't know if it ever had an impact. Never saw the guy again, actually. At some point, I started wondering whether he actually went to that college. The website called for nothing more than a name. It didn't even seem like it would check whether it was mine or even a real one. But they insisted. I got to the pay screen. Guy logged into his crypto wallet or whatever he called it, and we got sent to a loading screen. For a few seconds, nothing happened. The guys were sitting in anticipation of naked skin, a few girls around me just rolling their eyes at the horn dogs. But I felt sick. Not I'm going to throw up sick, but my stomach was turning in on itself, like I had eaten stones that were now sitting low inside me, hot from the effort of digestion they were causing. My name was out there now. With them. With whoever. And it didn't help when my phone suddenly black screened with a simple white, "Sorry," written in the middle. The guys booed, threw their heads back in frustration. But I guess they chalked it up to being the website's fault. After all, I had done what I'd been told. Brought something, put my name on it, even if the seller never delivered. I put my phone aside to continue the game, but my chest felt heavy for the rest of the night. The back of my neck doused in cold sweat, a lump in my throat I could never quite swallow. Lacey woke up not too long after that. We left, even though she almost insisted on joining the game, but she could barely get through the word truth alone without almost throwing up. I checked my phone again later, but the error screen had stuck, showing only my reflection in the black screen and the word sorry printed on my nose. There was no powering it off, no charging it while it hadn't lost battery fully. When it finally did, the power cable only brought the sorry screen back. Great. So the website had crashed and broken my phone. I really didn't quite have the money to get another one until my next paycheck, and a trip to the repair shop deemed the cost of getting it working again not worth it. I would be better off buying new. So it landed on my bedside table, always displaying this little white message, and a very off reflection. I only noticed when I woke up one morning and saw the screen from a different angle. From where I was, a reflection should have shown the light strips on the wall, the door maybe, anything. Not the pride flag that was hanging on the ceiling straight above it. I froze. Cold grabbed a hold of my arms. I don't know how long I was sitting there until I finally dared to move. And when I did, it was slowly, making as little sound as possible while I pushed my finger over the front camera, covering it whole. The picture of my ceiling disappeared, went dark to make way for the actual reflection of my room. It felt like ice-cold water running down my back. I wanted nothing more than to toss the wicked thing out the window, get it as far away from me as possible. Maybe I should have done exactly that. Instead, I turned it on its screen, before realizing it had a camera in the back as well. So I put a book on it. And then another one. And when I still watched, I tossed it in a drawer, wrapped in approximately 3 layers of towel and slammed it shut. I got a new phone the week after. The first thing I tried to do was set up all my contacts and social media, only to find myself locked out of all of my accounts. My passwords weren't working. Any attempt on recovery insisted that there was no account under this email address. Maybe they had been blocked, deleted, banned somehow. Maybe the malfunction of my phone set off something. It was the only explanation I had. So I made new accounts, got back on everything and set aside to go about my days as if nothing had ever happened. That must have been about when it started. I went to see a movie with a friend one night, only to have Lacey blowing up my phone later about how dare I watch it without her, and tweet about it like it's the cutest darn thing. In the beginning, I just put her off. But when she started complaining about me not replying to her comments, I got wary. It didn't take long to find. The usernames were still the same. All my accounts were there. Active. Overly active. Tweets about the movie, pictures of the cafe I had gone to, mentions of my upcoming exams. I thought it was some stupid prank. Some friends I had were questionable. But this? Why devote so much time to something this stupid? And prodding around with my friends didn't get me anywhere. None of them gave off the slightest hint of their involvement. And the worrying knot in my stomach grew with every day. I started feeling watched everywhere I went. Checked over my shoulder far too often, only to find empty hallways and sidewalks. I followed the accounts to keep track of everything that was happening. Most of my days were spent studying, organising my notes, reading, preparing for exams. I went out rarely, but when I did, not long after I had left, there would be a post about it. Pictures of the park I took my friend's dog to, of the deli I earned my living at. My friends were commenting on my posts, sending hearts and kisses, flame emojis, and any thought that came to mind. None of them saw what was wrong with all of this. I tried to talk to some of them, some of the calmer, rational ones. They laughed, thought I was joking, inventing some unsettling story for what, exactly? What would anyone gain from inventing stuff like this? It was a harmless prank, nothing to worry about. Until one day I went out to dinner and came back to a picture of my note-cluttered desk on Instagram, dimly lit by the LED strips on the wall above. My heart pounded in my ears as I stared down at the picture, the other hand barely lifted towards the doorknob of my dorm room. Everything in me screamed to run away, to get out while I still could. The handle felt hot under my fingers. I felt like I was going numb. And there was too much noise around. Too many students chatting away in the hallway for me to hear whether there was anything inside. I didn't go in that night. Went to stay with Lacey, to get distracted. Maybe drunk. I went out less, but every trip to the supermarket ended up documented, every step followed, every breath recorded. Every bit of my personal life shared on social media, each bat of my eye a tweet, every stroke written a new picture on Instagram. I never saw them. Never saw anyone taking pictures of my notes, was never gone long, never noticed anyone hiding in my dresser. My grades tanked. I couldn't concentrate, forgot to shower or refused. I felt eyes on the back of my head every second I was awake. Couldn't sleep with the thought of someone sneaking in behind me, rummaging through my head. I dropped out, not intentionally. I tried to fight it, tried to tell them, but nobody would listen. Would I have listened to me? Probably not. I was unkempt, falling asleep standing every 5 seconds, rambling on about social media posts documenting everything I did. I probably would have thrown me out too. But as soon as I left campus, there was some hope. Some thought that maybe they wouldn't follow me out to the country. Maybe I would be safe with my parents. And for a while, it stopped. There were no pictures, no tweets, no shares, no nothing. The quiet was blissful. I could get myself together, back on track, even if my college wouldn't take me back. There were other options, and I wouldn't waste a single free second working towards them. I got an internship with a newspaper, a nice place with opportunities for growth. But I wouldn't get those. I was working on some research, going through notes at my desk late at night. The job asked for a lot. but I had to work harder without a college degree. When my phone dinged with a spine-chilling screech of an Instagram notification. I hadn't heard that sound in ages. Turned off notifications for anything but my old accounts. Those accounts I no longer had control over. The hair on my neck stood up. My blood ran cold. I could barely bring myself to look over at my phone, let alone pick it up. I hadn't been anywhere all day. Was working from home. Barely even left my room to grab some food. My hand moved on its own when it grabbed my phone, unlocking it with shaking fingers and tapping on the notification. It was me, sitting at my desk, my back lit by nothing more than the warped light of the desk lamp in front of me. I stopped breathing. It all stopped. Time moved so much slower as I turned around. But the room behind me was empty, the closed window only showing a clear night. I freaked, I think. I don't blame my parents for putting me here. I trashed my room, barely remember doing it. The next thing I do remember is sitting in a white room, my entire body shaking, unfocused eyes staring into the empty distance. My parents weren't there. The doctors told me they'd left a few hours ago. It took a day for me to get used to it, another for me to be allowed to roam the hallways. And it was good. There were no phones here, no cameras, no hidden people. I got food at set times, therapy at others. And even though still no one believed me, I could talk. Until one day, a white flash set me off. The sound of the camera shutter was piercing, right behind me. A few seconds later, I'm at her throat, grasping her collar and shoving her. Doctors come running from all sides, but I can only stare at her face. And my face. Her eyes are the same tint of brown, lips following the same bow, even a scar through the same length of her eyebrow. Though hers were glistening, fresher, as if caused mere months ago instead of years. I let go before they reach me and stare. Still, they pull me back, hold me down, while she loses the shock on her face and starts smiling. Smiling as she walks away. Thank you for watching and/or listening to this video. Again, if you enjoyed it, please go ahead and hit the like button. And if you don't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and select the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. Also, please leave a comment on this video letting me know what you thought of it. Comments really help with the YouTube algorithm and will really help my channel to grow. If you have a story you would like me to narrate, please email it to me at stories@daredeverell.com. I recently passed 60,000 subscribers to this channel, so I'm pretty close to my next major milestone. Thank you to everyone who is continuing to subscribe to this channel and contributing to its growth by liking videos and leaving comments. Once I get to 100,000 subscribers, my plan is to reward you all with an epic video of over 3 hours of original content. If that is the sort of thing you want to hear, please keep helping this channel to grow. A while ago, I started a meditation channel, Mindful Breaks. I haven't really kept up with it, but more recently it's started to gain some momentum, so I plan on releasing more meditations and some bedtime stories. If that's the sort of thing you're interested in, please go ahead and subscribe to that channel to help it to grow also. Thanks again for watching this video.